Happy Friday, my first grade friends. Today is Friday, April 3rd, 2020. I miss your smiling faces, but I really appreciate all of the videos, pictures, and messages you've been sending me this week. I also started receiving some of the letters back, so I appreciate that as well. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Next week, we will be doing something a little different. You're going to get daily lessons from Mr. Moskowitz, Mrs. Nelson, and myself. And you'll see that we've planned a few hours of work for you every day. And some of it will be new material that we're teaching you. And we really, really, really want you to do your best work and give it a try. So more to come on that on Monday. Next week also on Friday technically is not a school day because it's Good Friday, so you get an extra day off. Today my read aloud to you is a nonfiction book. Remember that nonfiction texts have real information and teach you things. Today is a National Geographic Kids book I picked called Frogs, and I thought this was perfect for the beginning of springtime because although you can't always see frogs, you can hear them, especially after a rainy day like today and every day this week, really. So here it is, Frogs. As I'm reading, I want you to be thinking about what this book is teaching you, some things you already knew and some things that are new information to you. Frogs. Look, a frog. Up in a tree, a tiny frog balances on a branch. Tree frogs tiptoe on twigs and leap onto leaves. Sticky toe tips help tree frogs climb and cling. Down by a stream, a big bullfrog snuggles into squishy, mushy mud. Squelch. In a sandy desert, a spadefoot toad digs with shovel-like back feet, burrowing underground. Let me give you a close-up there. Eee. That would be hard to see that frog. Sploosh. Out in a pond, a leggy leopard frog launches off a lily pad. It arches through the air and splashes into the water. Home sweet home. Frogs live almost everywhere on Earth except Antarctica. You can find them on mountain tops, in forests, creeks, and rivers, ponds and lakes, field parks, gardens, and deserts. You can see here some of the text features of this nonfiction book. There are little captions here. This is a Pac-Man frog that lives in South America. And here is a spadefoot toad, which lives in North America. This Australian green tree frog lives in Australia. And this, I believe you say it, Fleischmann's glass frog lives in Central America. Can you find those places on a map of the United States? This is a flaming poison dart frog that lives in Central and South America. This Vietnamese mossy frog is from Southeast Asia. And this is a Wallace flying frog, also from Southeast Asia. Did you know there are more than 5,000 kinds of frogs? These are some of them from all around the world. Frogs come in many different colors and sizes. They can be tiny or they can be huge. Frogs can be bumpy or frogs can be smooth. Some frogs are even see-through. I never knew that. Most mother frogs lay eggs in or near water. When the eggs hatch, out pop tiny tadpoles. They live underwater and eat tiny plants. They look like fish, but they are wiggly, wriggly baby frogs, also known as pollywogs. Oh, I'm noticing something about the pollywog. Are you? Tadpoles start out with chubby, stubby bodies and long, flat tails. But as a tadpole grows, its body changes. It sprouts legs for swimming and hopping. Now it's starting to get legs. Its tail gets smaller and smaller. Its eyes get bulgier and bulgier. Its mouth gets wider and wider. Finally, the tadpole looks like a frog. Out of the water, it crawls. Now the young frog is ready to explore its new world and to eat. Gulp. This frog loves to eat bugs. It shoots out its tongue to snap up a passing insect, pulls the prey into its mouth, and swallows it whole. Oh boy. Froggy feasts. Frogs are not fussy eaters. They will eat just about anything that moves, as long as it can fit into their mouths. Frogs chow down on insects, spiders, worms, slugs, and snails. Some large frogs also dine on mice and even other frogs. I never knew that frogs eat other frogs, some kinds. This question up here asks, how far can you stick out your tongue? Do you think a worm tastes yummy or yucky? Bugs and caterpillars are fine food for frogs. This frog just nabbed a delicious dragonfly. Check that out. This mouse better watch out for big, hungry frogs. Wow, I never knew a frog would eat a mouse. How would you like lizards for lunch and spiders for supper? Blech. No, thank you. Frogs eat all kinds of animals, and all kinds of animals eat frogs. Birds and bats, snakes and rats, raccoons, fish, lizards, crocodiles, and even bears all gobble up frogs. How do frogs survive? Some hide by blending into the backyard. Some have brilliant colors that warn hungry hunters, don't eat me. These brightly hued frogs have poison in their skin. Ooh, so bright frogs have poison in their skin. Jump frog. A frog on the ground can leap to safety. And in a treetop, a gliding frog spreads its toes wide, jumps off a branch, and glides. Happy landing. Whoa, check out that. All in the family. Don't let toads fool you. Despite their name, toads are a kind of frog. But that doesn't mean frogs and toads are exactly alike. Frogs live most of their lives around water. Toads can be found in drier places, even in deserts. Here are some ways that toads and frogs are different and the same. So these 2 pages are comparing and contrasting frogs and toads. So they're noticing what's the same and what's different. A frog has moist, smooth skin, while a toad has dry, bumpy skin. Feel your skin. What does your skin feel like? Is it smooth like a frog or dry and bumpy like a toad? Think of some other things that feel bumpy. A frog has no tail. A toad also has no tail. That's something that's the same. Frogs have long, strong legs for jumping and leaping. Can you leap like a frog? Go ahead, give it a try. Can you leap like a frog? Well, the toad has short legs just right for walking or short hops. Can you make short hops like a toad? A frog has teeth in its upper jaw, so up top it has teeth. A toad doesn't have teeth at all. A frog has 4 toes on its front legs. A toad also has 4 toes on its front legs. So how many fingers and toes do you have? Another thing that's the same about frogs and toads is that they both have 5 toes on their hind legs. So they have 4 toes on their front and 5 on their hind. Toads has short legs just right for walking or short hops, which is different, like I said, from the frog that has long, strong legs for jumping and leaping. Oh, can you sing like a frog? You know I love to sing. Even when you can't see frogs, you can often hear them singing. Some frogs puff up their throats like balloons to make sound. Each type of frog has its own call. Some are so loud they can be heard a mile away. Here are some frog calls. Can you make these froggy sounds? A bullfrog says something like juggle. A spring peeper makes a high pitch sound like beep, beep, beep. A red-eyed tree frog makes a sound that says like chop, chop, chop. A gray tree frog says trill. A wood frog actually sounds like a duck, quack, quack, quack. And a coqui frog says coqui. Maybe somewhere online you could find a website that has different kinds of frogs and the sound that they make. I hope you enjoyed this book, Frogs, which is a National Geographic kids book. And I hope you have a fabulous weekend. More to come next week. Bye, friends.